I guess we have to talk about me, even though it seems as unimportant as anything could be. Seems very unimportant now. I swear, it was the weirdest thing. So, just in case you don't know the story, after the debate, I was very disappointed with the president's answer about white supremacy. I don't have any doubt in my mind that he has condemned it many times in the past. I don't have any doubt in my mind that he condemned it that night in weak language, but he certainly condemned it. It was unambiguous, but it was a weak statement, but it was clear. Clear but weak. And so I don't have any, uncertainty about what the president thinks or what he would do in the future. But I too, like the rest of the country, felt a little bit tweaked, like a lot of people, that he couldn't just say it the way we wanted him to say it. I will give you a couple of theories as to why I think he doesn't answer it the way you wanted him to answer it. Are you ready? Number one, in persuasion, and of course what the president is doing all the time is persuading. He's negotiating, he's persuading, he's cajoling, he's selling, all the time. Would you agree that that's true? That the president is always in persuasion mode, all the time. That's his job. That's who he is by personality, but on top of that, that's exactly his job. He should be persuading all the time. Here's a rule of persuasion that you might not be aware of. And one of the reasons that I say you should build your talent stack is so that you can see the world through more windows if you have more skills. It just allows you to see the world a little more cleanly. If you had skill, let's say you had learned and trained to be a salesperson, or trained in psychology, trained in persuasion, if you had trained in any of those fields, here's something you would know that other people wouldn't necessarily know. And it goes like this. If you are trying to persuade somebody, the best thing you can do, a really good thing to do, like it's powerful, is get them to do something small that primes them to later do something big, which is the real thing you want. So, if you're in a negotiating contest or you're trying to be the alpha in the room, here's what you never want to do. You never want to do exactly what somebody else asked you or is trying to force you to do. If you give a little bit on anything at all, it makes it easier for them to get more. They'll immediately double down. He moved an inch. He moved an inch. Look what we got him to say the words that we told him to say. Look, his mouth is moving, and the words he's using are our words. Look what we did. We turned him into our puppet in a small way, very small way. All we did was get him to say the words exactly the way we wanted them to be said. If you can get somebody to do something small like that, and here's the key, something that looks completely reasonable. Don't you think it's 100% reasonable to ask the President of the United States to disavow white supremacists? Totally reasonable. That's the most reasonable, small thing you could ever ask for somebody. If you didn't understand this field, you would say to yourself, oh, well, that's very small. It's very reasonable. Of course I'm going to do it. And then you just do it. And you would have given somebody a little bit of something. And you would have lost ground. You might not feel it, but it would have been a persuasion mistake. Now, in my opinion, there's one exception to this rule. The one exception where you should just do what you're asked is this one, this exact situation. If somebody asks you as president to disavow white supremacists, this is the one time I recommend that you just say, oh crap, I'm going to have to actually do this exactly the way they want. And of course I want to anyway. It's not like I resist the idea of it. I just don't want to do what you want me to do. So here's the first thing I'm going to try. The first thing I'm going to try is to say it my way, right? Because you're going to try to weasel the situation. You're going to try to say, okay, I'm not going to say it the way you want, only because you're the one telling me to do it. It has nothing to do with the thing you want me to say. I'm not editing or judging the content of what you want me to say. I'm only judging that you're telling me to say it. And that disqualifies it from me being able to say it. So instead, I'm going to try to sell you my version. And it goes like this. I oppose all violent groups, but I think most of it comes from the left, which is what he did. All right. So he tried to avoid one of the biggest mistakes you could make in persuasion, which is take somebody else's frame and just be their puppet, even on a small thing. Now, in my opinion, that was an error, because he still should have just done it, and he should have minimized it. He could have minimized it away. That's the way I would have played it. I would have said, obviously, of course everybody condemns white supremacy, so do I, and then go right into Antifa. Just give it a clear, distinct statement, but really small. Just compress it down and say, everybody, including me, disavows white supremacy. But let's talk about Antifa. And then just do a whole big Antifa thing. That's how I would have played it. So it was a mistake, but in my opinion, it had to do with not wanting to be pushed. And that was the right instinct, just maybe the wrong time for it.